Hi, my name is Shiro. I am for almost 44 years old. And let me tell you the biggest lie that the world has told young women. We've been sold the lie that if we are well behaved, that the patriarchy will reward us. It will not. As a woman in my 40s, the women that I have seen getting what they want are the mannerless ones. Yani, have no manners. Be as disagreeable as possible.
When I say a partner, I want someone that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
That's not intimidated by who and what I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
That likes to travel.
Yeah.
Going to let me go shopping.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like
time is the most humbling force on earth. You cannot beat it, you cannot outrun it. And eventually, time and reality catches up to everybody, women especially. Kevin Samuels was right. R.I.P. to the Godfather. He was a Sherlock Holmes of our time because he had the ability to look at women's decisions, behaviors, lifestyle choices, and predict where things were probably headed years down the line for her. And that's why so many women hated hearing him speak. And now, years later, we're watching things unfold that look eerily similar to the warnings he was given back then. Welcome to the war.
When I say a partner, I want someone that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
That's not intimidated by who and what I am.
Yeah.
That likes to travel.
Yeah.
Going to let me go shopping.
yes. I feel like you just spoke it into existence.
I hope so, girlfriend.
I feel like you just
So
spoke.
you got, and I'm taking applications.
Oh,
so if you got a friend.
Okay.
I'm good.
We'll be all.
And I don't discriminate. He can be. I'm not against different nationalities. Then you know that too.
At 61, Vivica Fox is now ready to settle down. If you're not familiar with her connection with Kevin Samuels, let me give you a little snippet into the past.
One of his last statements that he said was that if you're over 38 and you haven't married or something like that, that you're no good and disposable. To me, he was a shock jock. And, you know, I hope this is teaching folks a lesson about the karma that you put out, the negativity that you put out in the world, that when karma comes knocking at your door, she might not be so kind. So, you know, the fact that he killed over real quick and was supposedly with a woman that we don't yet know the nationality.
Who gives a shit what you give, Vivica Fox? You can't keep a man. One of your biggest regrets is you never had a kid. You never turned out a plus sign. See, I got a problem with women like you, thinking that you talk as though you're someone to be appeased. Shut up, Vivica Fox. I'm about tired of seeing your twisted up mouth everywhere. Every time you come on camera, your face is twisted up. We get it. You're a smart, sassy, strong black woman. Do you have another gear? Do you have another character? You've been playing the same character for the last 30 years. We get it. 50 Cent, and Curtis Jackson responded and said, man, my ex-lover still want me. 17 years ago, we was together for 4 months, and she's still mad. My Badoom Doom must be better than I thought. Kudos to you, 50 Cent, for smiling through it. I mean, have you guys looked at the way Vivica looks these days? Every time you see her, it look like she done sucked on a bag of lemons. Now, I remember back in the 90s when Vivica was hot. Fine. But Vivica, but so many women like Vivica A. Fox fall into a broadcast where I said, women have already met their guy and they blew it. I mean, think about when you see Fox Soul, Vivica Fox, Claudia Johnson, and y'all feeling me, and Lisa Ray. Don't y'all see a bunch of old women and be like, y'all are 40 and 50 years old. Y'all should have been somebody's grandma by now. Almost somebody's grandma.
At 60, it's clearance sales and it's time to buy some cats and dogs for company. I mean, you don't get to have requirements. You don't get to be picky. The market decides if they want to. And, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, ladies. The wall will always be there. Some ladies just hit it later than others. As Kevin Samuels would say, what you need, ma'am, is a man who is breathing. One truth that makes a lot of women uncomfortable is this. You know, as a young woman, it's usually easier to secure and maintain one good man early than to spend years hoeing around and feeling like you are the prize, and then try to settle down later. But when I say these things, they come to my comments and call me a woman hater. But whether you ladies like hearing this or not, there is logic behind it. Because even in businesses understand this principle. Keeping loyal customers is usually easier and cheaper than constantly trying to attract brand new ones every single day. But you ladies are just so obsessed with your youth, your career, your independence, your attractiveness, that many of you never really prepare for what life looks like after all that starts to fade. And I must say, the level of delusions for these women really, really needs to be studied.
Taking boyfriend applications at 60 is crazy to me. So you
Hold up. Did she just say boyfriend and we're taking applications for a boyfriend? Young sis, at 60 years old, we've been through boyfriends in our teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe even our 50s. We've come to the realization that boyfriends doesn't connotate any kind of relationship that is going to be lasting. At 60 years old, we're not trying to find no boyfriends. Not at all. All we want is peace in our lives. As a matter of fact, those so-called boyfriends, they have to find us. And if they're not on our level to be able to deal with us at the state of mind and maturity that where we're at, they got to go. So let's think.
This has been on my mind for the last several days, so I'm just going to say it. You ain't going to like it, and there'll be no apology forthcoming. The reason that we want to be single as women, especially as older women, I'm 61, is because if you can't be a better man than we are in handling responsibilities, we don't need you. Y'all have forced us to have to be the women and the men in our relationships and in our lives. And then you want to step in and got the audacity to tell us you too demanding, you uncompromising, you too independent. That's what you forced us to be. And now that we're very, very good at it, we don't need you coming along messing up our ride. We are at a state of peace that we have fought hard for, and we are serious about protecting, and we don't need your chaos, your foolishness, your cluelessness, or your selfishness. So guess what? You expecting us to be the knight in shining armor, and you the damsel in distress. We ain't coming for you, because we had to rescue ourselves because of you. Now, if you got a problem with that, it's just your problem. And go kick rocks. Ladies, comment.
Hi, my name is Shiro. I am almost 44 years old. And let me tell you the biggest lie that the world has told young women. You know, when I was younger, one of the things that we were told is that older women, especially if you're older and you're unmarried, then you're bitter, right? Now I have gotten to the bitter ages and I've understood the source of that bitterness. It's because the scales have fallen off our eyes, young ladies. Please listen to us, girlies. The scales have fallen from our eyes. That's why we're so angry, because we have been sold a lie. We've been sold lies. We've been sold the lie that if we are well behaved, that the patriarchy will reward us. It will not. We have been sold the lie that marriage is where you will find fulfillment and happiness. And in a lot of cases that is the case, but in a lot of cases that is not the case either. We have been taught the lie of being agreeable, that the agreeable and well-behaved girl gets what she wants at the end. That is a lie. Let me tell you, as a woman in my 40s, the women that I have seen getting what they want are the mannerless ones. Yani, have no manners. Be as disagreeable as possible. Even if it enters your heart to say, that's okay, rebuke that spirit. Cause trouble, be a troublemaker, because let me tell you something. I am in my 40s. The women that I am seeing that are making it in this life are the mannerless, audacious women. Stop asking for permission. Stop.
Ladies, you need to listen to this. A woman's long-term value is not only tied to attractiveness. No, it is tied to the family. It's tied to warmth. It's tied to community, to nurturing, and every feminine value she has. A woman who holds a family together naturally becomes respected with age because her value has evolved beyond appearance, okay? But modern culture tells women to compete endlessly for attention. You know, what they have failed to tell them is that nobody stays 21 forever. Now, when these women get to certain ages, then they start to realize that all they chased in their youth were temporary and time wasters. But meaningful relationships like, family, purpose, are those things that actually sustain women long term. And honestly, that's why loneliness, coping, bitterness, anger, and hatred towards men is becoming such a massive issue now with women. One thing you will notice in a lot of these videos is that women talk about men as if every man is the same. Because when they say, he failed me, he wasn't a provider, he lacked leadership quality, he was not responsible, blah, 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 the first question that naturally comes to mind is, what kind of men did you choose or have you been choosing? Women would spend decades repeatedly choosing the same type of men while ignoring obvious red flags, then later conclude that the entire male gender is the problem. And the reason is because they chase after excitement, money, status, temporary feelings. And when they eventually hit the wall and become older, they become bitter, simply because they are single and eventually realize that certain choices they made came with consequences they never prepared for. And the dangerous part is this: when they turn the bitterness into ideologies about men, because then instead of saying, I made poor choices in my relationship, I made poor relationship choices, the message becomes, there are no good men out there. All men are this, all men are that. And once younger women start to absorb that worldview constantly, it creates poor decision making before relationships even begin. And that's how the cycle repeats. Now, regardless of whether women agreed with Kevin Samuels completely or not, one thing is undeniable. A lot of the conversations happening today about dating, relationships, loneliness, standards, aging, and high expectations with women are conversations he was already having years ago. And you don't have to like those realities or the truth. But pretending they don't exist doesn't change the outcome either. At the end of the day, ladies, reality doesn't really care about your feelings. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share the video. And I'll see you in the next one.